Hello there, everybody. It's been a while since I've recorded something, and I'm not going to be talking too much in this clip. I'm just going to be getting my level. I'm about to hit level 291. Basically, I'm just going to hit the level, and then I'll end the clip, and then I'll do like a more in-depth talk about stuff later, or tomorrow, or whatever. Just because I'm kind of chilling right now, and I don't really feel like talking too much. I was just grinding, watching some YouTube. You know how it is. But I do want to talk about some things, like my thoughts on the journey so far, my MapleStory journey, and maybe even like a little bit of my life in general. Just because I don't typically talk too much about like my life or me as a person. I'm just kind of a silly guy who makes internet videos sometimes. And I guess I can share like a little fun fact that if you guys don't know, obviously mental health is a big thing, struggled with severe depression my whole life, and like the whole premise around why my YouTube channel exists and like existed and still exists is because it's like, I started it as something I have to do every day, you know, like make a video every day. Something to get me out of bed and something that I quote-unquote felt like I had to do. But that's a fun little fact. And that's also kind of why I did like a video a day, because I don't know if you know, even for like little like quote-unquote low-effort gameplay videos, it's still very time-consuming to even do the small amount of editing I do, voice, audio stuff. You know how it is. It's just a lot of work. It's time-consuming. So the fact that I've still been doing it is crazy. Guess that's my level, though. 291. Who'da thunk it, man? Who'da thunk it? What, like, I don't know, like a year ago, I was level, like, what? 270, maybe? How time flies, man. But yeah, that's a little fun fact about how my YouTube channel got started. What's next for MapleStory? I mean, I'm probably going to be doing much of the same. Yeah, I'll talk more about it later in the next clip. I mean, the clip will be immediately after this, but for me, it'll be later. Anyways, 291, smiley face. Hello there, everybody. This is going to be a continuation of the last clip. So if you don't want to hear, like, I don't know, like personal stuff about me or my life, no worries. I'm just going to be kind of doing dailies in the background since I just got back. It's like the next day. I just got done working out. I got back home. It's like 9 p.m., which means reset for, or not reset, but Ursus double time is about to end here in a little bit, so I need to get my stuff kind of rolling here, since it ends at 10 p.m. for me. But I did just get back. I got done working out, all that good stuff, and we'll just kind of, I'll just kind of talk about me, which is something that I don't typically do. Not because there's like any like specific reason why I don't. I don't know. I'm a typically pretty quiet person, pretty private person, and it's just kind of always been like that, I guess. I don't know. But I don't remember exactly what I mentioned in my little level clip, but I do know I kind of like alluded to like the reason why I even have like a YouTube channel or anything. And I guess let's start off with like my immediate MapleStory plans. So my immediate MapleStory plans, I really have none. This game is something that I play in my downtime. I probably play it more than I probably need to, because I still run all my like Lomian mules and whatever, even though I don't really need to. It's just something that I do because it doesn't take too much time. And obviously I do all my bosses and stuff. Another question that I used to get asked quite a bit back when I was more like content pilled and like actually making more specific content Do I have a job? The answer to that question is yes, I work from home. I do contract work, data annotation shit, yes, AI model training. It's very inconsistent work in the grand scheme of things, but in the last year and a half or so, it's been pretty consistent for me. I've been able to put in more hours than any reasonable human should. I usually put in about 12 to 14 hours a day, so pretty much from the second I wake up till the second I go to sleep, assuming I'm not, like, going out of the house doing other things, which I don't typically do, though sometimes I'll go hang out with my friend, or I will go out for lunch, stuff like that, or I'll go meet up with, like, a friend who's coming to visit in town, or I'll go somewhere for, like, a weekend, whatever it may be. But the point is, typically, I just kind of keep into my, like, little sphere of things, and I just kind of put my head down to the grind, both for work and MapleStory. And my work, the projects vary between the work. Some of the projects are easy for me to do while I farm on MapleStory, for example. Some of them, not so much, and are very brain-destroying and tedious work. But that is what I do currently and have done for quite some time at this point. And that kind of leads me into a good seg for the next section, which is just kind of like, what am I doing with my life in general? So if you don't know, I'm Chris. I'm sure you can figure that out. I am 30 years old, believe it or not. Call me Unk or whatevs, but it is true. I'm 30 years old. It's not really a surprise as to what I look like. If I remember, I'll throw a picture of myself up here. I'm just a typical white dude. Fat white dude, I guess. American, whatever. A lot of people used to ask me back when I played Lost Ark, why don't I do a face reveal? One, I have done it. Two, I just don't have a webcam, and I don't think the webcam adds anything really to the content that I make, because I'm not making hyper-specific content that is meant to be like, I don't know, like, it's not like vital to what I do, right? Like, I'll make a clip here and there, like old school RuneScape progression series. Like, when I say old school, I don't mean like OSRS, I mean like 10 years ago kind of videos, you know what I mean? Like Alkin. Y'all know Alkin, that kind of shit. It's more akin to that. I just don't think the face cam adds anything. If I had a webcam, I would do it. Sure, I don't care. I just don't have a webcam, and I don't really see a reason to buy one. I could easily. I just don't think it adds enough. That being said, where am I? Sorry. I got carried away. Where am I? Covered what do I do, covered who I am, covered job. Mental health stuff. I'll touch on the mental health stuff briefly. I've struggled with, like, severe depression pretty much my whole life, for as long as I can remember. Didn't have the greatest upbringing. Parents' relationships are very strained, especially on the dad's side. Shouldn't be a surprise there, though. Around COVID time, there was some medical stuff in the family. I ended up having to, well, didn't have to, but I wanted to step up and help. That ended up being a bad thing for me in the long term in terms of my mental and all that. I ended up quitting my actual job. I used to work at a bank. Not as anything fancy, just as a fucking dude who opens accounts and shit. I have no degrees or anything. I didn't go to, like, post-secondary school or anything. But I ended up quitting that job and then dealing with the pressure from, like, being at home and taking care of people who are not the greatest to me. It really kind of started killing me again, and it kind of deteriorated my mental health. And then I ended up getting on some new medication at the behest of my then girlfriend, and it ended up being probably, like, the worst experience of my life. The medication that I ended up going on was venlafaxine or Effexor, and it basically did jack shit for me. And obviously, asking a depressed person if something had, like, a meaningful change on them is, like, pointless. Like, a genuinely severe depressed person. Because I didn't know that the medication was doing this to me, which sounds crazy to say, but basically, It turned me into some sort of, like, shell of a human, essentially. I couldn't really feel emotion. I couldn't get joy from anything. I basically just existed in the purest form of the word existing. That's about all I did. I would wake up, and that's about it. I would wake up. I didn't even play video games at that point. This was like right at the cusp of when Lost Ark was launching, or was about to launch. And Lost Ark is actually the game that kind of pushed me out of just existing. It was the first foray I had back into, like, doing something meaningful for, like, me. And I use the word meaningful to mean, like, something that I myself cared about for my own reasons, you know what I mean? It was an enjoyable time, and it got me into the groove of, like, doing things again, even if those things were very, like, minuscule. But that being said... Sorry, trying to think of what I'm doing here. Oops. Do Maple Tour, and then do Ursus. But... At that point, I was still on the medication. I would still be on the medication up until the later half of 2023, like October, November 2023, somewhere around there, or maybe September. Late September, early October, somewhere around there. I don't know. It's all a bit hazy. And this was around the time where well, no, let's back up. Because I think it was around September or October 2022 is when I started my YouTube channel. I did it for two different reasons. One of the reasons was because, like I mentioned earlier, I think, in the clip previous to this one before I started recording this second segment, was that I wanted to have something consistent that I had to do every day. Quote-unquote had to do, you know? To force me to do something, you know what I mean? Because at that point, I wasn't really doing anything. I was literally just existing still. And I did have Lost Ark, but, like, I wouldn't say I was, like, enthusiastic about playing Lost Ark so much as it was just something to pass the time with, if that makes sense. But the YouTube thing was... That was reason number one. And reason number two was because at that point in my life, my then-girlfriend was long distance, and I wanted to have something that I could do, even temporarily, on the side... just to have as, like, something that could give some sort of income, even if it is very small. So at the peak, like, I was making a couple $100s from YouTube every month, which I definitely could have done a lot more with. I wasn't mentally well enough to, truthfully. And then, obviously, later on, it turned more into, like, a for fun thing for me, which... I mean, it was always kind of a for fun thing in the grand scheme of things, but it was like 100% for fun now at some point, or at some point in the progression, you know what I mean? Because obviously now I just don't care. I just post things because I like the routine of doing it still, and some people, I enjoy the small community that I have formed. The consistent people I really do enjoy posting the content for. I really, really do. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't do it, right? But, those are sort of the two reasons. And then, I got off the venlafaxine / Effexor, and the reason why I ended up getting off of it was because my then psychiatrist, well, I didn't have a psychiatrist at that point, because my psychiatrist quit. And my then PCP, which is my primary care provider, I wasn't popping PCP or whatever. That's my PCP. She was like, I can't keep prescribing this to you. You have to get a new psych and get them to re-up the prescription and, like, confirm that it's all good and everything. And I was like, well, I don't have the mental energy to go through the medical system and find me a new psych because of no reason or no fault of my own that the last one quit, and then you guys are basically just like, hey, get on a wait list for another year and hope that they don't quit immediately after getting them. Because the United States health system is ass. I don't know how else to say it. Took me like 8 months to get the first psych, and then she ended up quitting within a month. So I don't, like, what do you want from me? I'm severely depressed. Help me out here a little bit. You know what I mean? But I basically told her, like, I wasn't in a mental state to do that, so can we, like, wean me off the medication? And she was like, no, I can't prescribe any more. So I went from taking, I think it was 375 mg of venlafaxine daily to 0 overnight. And if you're not familiar with venlafaxine or Effexor or the medications in general that, like, the what the fuck are they called? They're like SSRI, SSNI, SNRI, some shit like that. But basically, those are the medications that, like, really fuck with your, like, brain and, like, pathways and shit. And yeah, that shit is miserable. Like, really miserable. Onboarding onto the medication was pretty bad, but oh my god, going from taking 375 mg a day to 0 overnight, the side effects getting off of it were miserable. I can definitely tell you that was the most suicidal ideation I've ever had in my life. I obviously have periods where I have it more often than not, and that period was awful. I constantly had vertigo. I would wake up and I would be drenched in sweat. I would have nightmares that I would be burned alive. I'd be fucking shot, shit like that. Like, living was actually hell. And then during all of this was like the period of time where, like, I was having some issues with my then girlfriend and things did not end up going well. I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day, but I think a lot of it came down to the fact that depression is hard for people to understand. And if you don't want to make an effort to understand it, and somebody's suffering through something like that, it's very hard to know what to do. Because I ended up getting on the medication in the first place because she suggested trying more medication again, because I had mentioned it a long time ago. And it wasn't a bad idea on its own, but the fact that I didn't realize the medication was so bad for me, and I guess nobody else in my life did either. I mean, I'm not blaming anyone. I mean, there's no one to blame but me. It just ended up being a really bad, like, recipe. I need to keep doing dailies instead of just jumping around. So I might as well keep doing dailies. But it's hard. It's hard, man. It is some of the hardest shit that I've ever had to go through. And again, don't blame anybody, but yeah. So it was a really bad period in my life, and we'll fast forward from October 2023 to, I mean, let's say September 2024. Because September 2024, about a year passes. I've been doing the AI shit for a little bit, and I get really, really sick. I get, like, a sinus infection that ends up... I don't know what ended up happening to that sinus infection, but basically, you'll remember if you guys are old heads, but I was still recording videos and stuff around that time too, and I would still record my videos. You can see how long it took me before I started sounding, like, presentable again. Like, I had some really bad upper respiratory something going on. And it lasted for, like, 3 months, no joke. It took me, like, 3 months before I started feeling, like, myself again, and, like, I sounded like myself again, and it wasn't, like, miserable to exist. But basically around September 2024. The reason why this date matters is because, I mean, that's the first time I'd been to, like, an urgent care or anything, or a doctor in a long time. And I got to see how much I weighed, and at that point I clocked in at 444 pounds, which is very large. Very, very large. Like, I was 100% the fat American me, and I still am, but just much less so now. But this is relevant because I guess that kind of marked a period in my life where I was like, okay, well, something needs to change. We need to do something about this. I didn't do that, like, intentionally. It's just like, I guess my subconscious was like, yo, bro, we gotta do something about this. Like, what are we doing here, Chief? So... Sorry, I gotta buy my Monster Park tickets because I run MP on this character. Can't wait for the grandest MP, though. It's gonna be nice. Anyways. I started losing weight, I guess, around September 2024. I didn't really, like, super hard focus on it until I was, like, better from, like, my fucking 3-month sickness. So I would say probably January of this year, 2025, is, like, when I really started, like, thinking about, like, hey, maybe I should not eat 5 dinners every day. Because when I get super depressed, and it's weird, I don't know why I do this, my brain is like, hey, let's eat some food. Even when I know it will make me unhappy, and I know while eating it, I'm not, like, getting any meaningful amount of happiness from it. And I know that when I'm done eating it, I will also be, like, upset with myself. But when I'm depressed, I guess the barrier to caring just isn't there, so I'm just like, fuck it, who cares? And then I just eat way too much. Like, literally multiple dinners a day. Which is what it is. But basically, that's when I was like, to myself, I was like, okay, well, maybe we should take this a little bit more seriously, because you feel like shit all the time, so maybe if we drop some of the weight again, you won't feel as bad. And weight is something that I've always struggled with my whole life because of the depression. Like, literally, I've done this before. I've went from, like, 400 to, like, 190. I literally have done this before. It's not good for you, I'm sure, but just to put that into perspective, like, it's nothing new to me, which is sad, maybe, but it's the truth. And then, obviously, as I started getting, like, more conscientious of, like, my health and, like, my eating, I started, like, working out again. I have a set of 50-pound adjustable dumbbells at my house. I just keep them on 50. I honestly should probably buy more weights to add to them, but I can't be bothered. So I just do 50-pound sets of whatever I do with the dumbbells. Overhead presses, curls, whatever I'm fancying that day. I don't worry too much about it. I mostly just do it to get in the habit of doing something, and something is better than nothing. I think too many people get worked up in the idea of, I need to do this, this, this specifically, when in reality it's mostly just like, you gotta do something. So I don't try to worry too much about the specifics, because I'm not worried about, like, lifting to obtain certain goals. I just do it because I know it's good for me, even if I don't necessarily want to. I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't, like, want to do it, if that makes sense. I don't know. Sometimes I do. But hopefully that makes sense. And then I also started taking multiple walks every day. I take a walk when I first wake up, and then I take a walk around midnight. I like my midnight walks because less people outside. It's quiet time outside. And it's a lot of thinking time for me, honestly. Put on some music and just kind of think, process stuff. But that brings us to today, where I mean, I haven't weighed myself in like a month, but last time I weighed myself was on like the 1 year from going to the ER and figuring out that I was 444 pounds. And when I weighed myself, I was like 290 then. So if I was 290 in 1 year, and I haven't weighed myself for like a month, I'm probably in the 270 to 280 range, because I'm losing about 10 pounds a month-ish. Which sounds insane, and don't get me wrong, it is, but when you're really big, it's really easy to lose weight if you start eating, like, the amount that I should be eating, i.e. not 5 dinners. And I also definitely am eating, not super prohibitively, but I'm eating a lot less than I feel like most people probably would be. I try to keep it between 1,200 and 1,500 calories, which is pretty insane for a man of my stature. especially considering how, like, active I am, but I mean, I don't feel that. Like, I honestly feel better than I have felt in probably, like, 5-6 years, physically. I have more energy than I've had in a very long time, though I think getting off the medication has helped my energy levels significantly. I think the medication also made me incredibly fatigued and tired all the time. But yeah. There's just so many things that the medication fucking did to me that I just wasn't aware of, because when you're depressed and you're already trying to do like the bare minimum, which seems impossible, like reaching out for help in the first place, like doing the whole like medical system shit, it's a lot, man. And doing it all by yourself is even harder, you know? It's not like I have anybody to like help me through this shit. It's just me. You know what I mean? And I'm not looking for like any awards or anything. I'm just trying to like explain it from a perspective of something that I hope you don't struggle with, because I don't think people who don't struggle with the same things will ever kind of fully understand it, and it's why I try to explain it. I'm not like looking for pity or sympathy or anything. It's just I'm glad that there are people out there who don't quite understand it and can't understand it or won't ever, because that means you won't experience it. And this shit sucks ass, man. Like, it's bad. That being said, that kind of leads us up until today. And today, like, what am I doing today? Like, what is the point of this Yap Fest? Well, I mean, the point of this Yap Fest is to just talk about me and, like, my life and, like, the things that I've struggled with, right? That was the whole idea. But today, what am I struggling with today? So, obviously, I'm in, like, the best shape that I've been in, like, 5 or 6 years. I'm, like, 270, 280 pounds. I'm, like, 6 foot tall. Only minorly balding. Cap. I feel better than I've ever felt. I look okay. Like, I'm definitely average, at least. When I lose some more weight, and my face gets less baby-faced. Well, I mean, I'll always have a baby face, but when it gets less puffy, I'll be at least average. As far as my career goes, what am I doing? I don't know. This AI shit isn't gonna last forever. I don't know. The career thing is what I struggle with the most. I don't know. The work from home aspect is so goddamn nice. The pay being better than anything I've ever been paid before also helps. Yeah, I have to pay all of my own taxes, but it's fine. I worked at a bank for a period of time in my life. I understand how basic taxes work. It's okay. It's not the most enjoyable thing in the world, but it is what it is. And then there's also kind of the whole, what am I going to be doing long term in terms of like where I live? Like, what am I doing with my living situation? Because I don't know. Obviously, I don't want to continue to stay here and get abused by, you know, the people that I came back to help. And it's like I could leave at any point because I have plenty of savings, but it's like I've adopted the grind set mentality of like I might as well save as much as I can since I don't have a concrete plan, and I could just tank the mental a little bit until I know what I'm doing, and then I'm setting myself up for like much more success than I would have otherwise, right? That's sort of my mentality around that. But the long term, I don't know what I'm doing, you know? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing career-wise. Don't know what I'm doing in terms of living situation-wise. I don't know. And I guess that's a lot of what bothers me on my, like, day-to-day. Like, what am I doing? I don't know. And I think a lot of people don't really know what they're doing. And I think the people who are, like, concrete about, like, having figured their shit out, so to speak, are usually the people who really don't know what they're doing, and they've just tried to like convince themselves that what they're doing is like, I don't know, like they've figured something out. I don't doubt that some people are like content and happy with like what they are doing and what they have built, but I think the vast majority of people you see, especially like influencers, social gurus, the fucking life coach bullshit, they're just trying to sell you a course, man. And we're all out here kind of trying to figure shit out together. I don't know. I honestly don't even know if I'm gonna upload this. Genuinely, I don't. Because it's like, who cares? You know what I mean? That's probably also partially why I keep things like private. On top of me just being a quiet and like more introverted and private person, who ultimately gives a shit? You know what I mean? We all have our own stuff going on. Why the fuck would anyone care? Not in the sense that like, oh, I'm sympathetic to like what's going on in your life, but it's just like, brother, you're coming here to watch a silly mushroom game video. Like, I'm trying to get away from my own shit. Like, why do I want to listen to your shit type stuff? You know what I mean? I don't know. Either way, if I don't post this, it's been therapeutic to just kind of sit here and talk about it, honestly, because I don't talk about this shit like ever to anyone anymore at this point, right? I mean, I'll mention it here and there to like my my friend, and I mean she'll listen, but there's always a part of me who feels guilty making people like listen to my issues and whatever. And that's definitely like childhood based, good old parents, etc., etc. Look, there's a lot of me. There's a lot to me. I'm a simple person, but there's a lot to my trauma or whatever, man. I don't know what to tell you. That being said, I hope you guys are having a good day, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the journey with me here on MapleStory, or Lost Ark, wherever you may have found me from, or one of the random games that I post. Because I'm not going to be doing it forever, but I think I'll still be doing it for the foreseeable future, unless something like massive changes in my life where I have to like move, or I may be moving. But even then, it'll probably only be like a temporary lull, and I'll be back. I think I'll always probably be posting content in some regard, just because I do really enjoy it. It's something I enjoy heavily. Yeah. But daily stuff will definitely end at some point, and it's to be expected, really. I just need to figure out what I'm doing with my... That's really all I can say. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just out here trying my best. I'm Mr. Breast. That's it, man. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe. If you even hear this, if you're hearing this, that means I posted it, so it is what it is. Bye.